That's an interesting story in itself. But I'll tell you what really brought it in. If you go back to when the 49ers were a great football team, the early days of the salary cap. And this is what got the owners thinking we got to level the field because they had such great players. They were able to pay all these great players. So, and able to, in order to take that dominance away. And I imagine that this was probably back somewhere in the early 80s when it started becoming a problem. But the structure of it, I remember very clearly and how it came about, and the need to get into how people figured out how to abuse the salary cap. That's an interesting story in itself.
The value of these NFL teams are now not worth hundreds of millions anymore. It's the billion number, what I think is fascinating, Charlie, when you think about these are billionaires that own these teams and families that are maybe generational. They're used to doing what they want to do. And all of a sudden they got to come together and be told, hey, we're going to change the way this is done. I mean, I think of George Steinbrenner at the Yankees,
So one thing that's really great about, we had a strong commissioner, and the commissioner's bylaws and rules, the owners pretty much are wired into. The only way they can be changed if the majority of the owners vote to change it. So everybody votes for the salary cap and the guidelines for the salary cap, and the richest owners along with the poorest owners all have to go along with what is constructed in that framework. And then, of course, the commissioner, he has to be the referee, you might say, and make sure that it's administered properly. So it's an interesting phenomenon. But the owners are pretty good about, within their fraternity, trying to make sure they have the best product possible for the public, because they all know there is no football without the people, without the fans, without the television revenue, and so on and so forth. So you can see how this thing has grown and the problems that it creates as it continues to balloon out, and how you got to be careful that it doesn't rupture and upset the balance of the National Football League.